Yeah,
Okay.
and I don't think we're going to do much with that. I'll jump back out of it pretty fast here in just a second. But you can see, like, I can actually go to the students' designs. I could open up these designs, and so whatever they create, I see, as long as they're in the same account that that is within the classroom. So that is a nice tool. I'm just going to jump back to the dashboard by clicking right up here. That's a quick way to get back to your dashboard if you need to. There's a few other tabs here: gallery, blog, learn, and teach. I can't remember. The teach tab is they've got some pre-made lessons and things that you can get, some resources for parents that you can send out and let them know what you're doing. It's kind of nice if you're a teacher. The learn section will take you through some step-by-step lessons on how to do different things. I've used this a little bit. I use these starters to start with, and this is kind of what we're going to begin with today, is something similar to these starters. And they've added a couple of starters. I haven't seen this one. Well, actually, I did see this one, but these are nice. If you're just trying to teach yourself, you can always go back to these. They're really pretty basic, but they're a good start for students. It's one of the things that I have them do at the beginning. And then I'm going to jump back to the dashboard again. So that's kind of across the top. There is your basic account profile information that's there. And I don't know, you can see that I guess I never check notifications. There's 462 there. But that's, you don't have to, apparently you don't have to check your notifications to survive this. Over here on the left-hand side, you have an ability to search through your own designs. They give them these weird names. So if you don't name them, you're going to end up with like dazzling snickets and exquisite wolts and stuff like that. That's just their pre-given names for these things, but you can search through designs. If you name them, you can find something that you've worked on. As you work, you will get pages and pages potentially of designs. Over on the left-hand side, you also have the ability to go to some different aspects of Tinkercad. I'm not going to touch on any of those aspects, but there is a circuits section. So you can go in, you can actually set up simple circuits on a breadboard with a microprocessor, and it allows you to do some like coding and stuff. So, if you have anybody like who would, I don't know, you probably don't have, this is not going to be stuff that kids in Child Finder is going to be using. So right. I get it. There are some lessons, and then I've got my classes and stuff. If to create a new design, you click on this button here. There's a few ways to do it, but that's the easiest if you're in your dashboard, and it will bring you into the design environment. This design environment, I'll try to go over this real quick, and then I'm gonna give you a couple minutes to just kind of look at it. At the top, you have the name for your project. And so if you click on that, it allows you to rename it. So, generally it's good practice to name stuff. And so I'm just gonna name this one practice. And over on the right-hand side, you can actually turn it into like, there's a Minecraft building aspect, like, so you can build with blocks. I think that's, we don't ever use it in class. There's a Lego one that I don't quite understand, but we don't really use that. And then you can share projects with other people. So that takes us across. I'm going to start from the top and just kind of work down just quickly. I'm not going to go over everything, but just a brief overview. You've got a basic toolbar just below that. And in that basic toolbar, there are typical like editing tools like copy and paste. So those are things that you should probably recognize the icons. Clipboard is paste, and the 2 pages is copy. They use the same shortcut keys that you're familiar with. So Control-C and Control-V. And then this one is called duplicate and repeat. This is a special tool that's used if you're doing the same task, like you're creating a bunch of similar items. You can actually record the creation of those items and then just click on this and it will recreate them. It's like a copy and paste, but better. Okay. And then there's an undo and redo button. Across the top, this is, I'm going to go ahead and jump over here just temporarily. And I'm getting no. Okay. I think they're canceling school tomorrow. We've got like 8 inches of snow. I guess it's good you're at home, Toby. we had some accidents with small accidents with some teachers today at the school, which is kind of too bad. But I'm going to jump over here to the right just for a second, because in order for me to show you some of these things, I need to have some things on the work plane. So this is the basic shapes section. So you work with shapes when you're working with Tinkercad. There's a whole bunch of shapes here, and then there's different libraries too. Some of these libraries I haven't really worked with. Primarily, we just use the basic shapes for my students because we're creating things that we're going to print. But you can see that there's creatures and all kinds of stuff. The kids like to play with this when they get extra time. They just let them explore those libraries. But I'm going to go back up to basic shapes. I'm going to go ahead and pull in one more so that I can show you some of the things that are here. So when you have a shape on what's called the work plane, these tools start to become available. So the first one is what's called I call it the Properties Pane. Oh, it's the notes visibility. So you can make little notes about things that you create. The next one here is has to do with I think that's it, the Properties Pane. And so this is what's called the Properties Pane, and it allows you to change some aspects of a shape that you create. Depending on the shape that you create, you'll get different properties that you have with that shape that are associated with it. I'm not going to really be talking about any of those today, but just so you know that's there. There's a way to group shapes that it'll be available. We'll use that a little bit, where you can combine them into a single unit. There's a way to ungroup them. So if you group them together, then you decide that you don't want them together. So notice that they change the same color and they're a single unit when I click on them. I can also ungroup them. And then aligning them allows you to so if you want them to, if I click here, they come together so that they have it's a midpoint alignment. You can stack them on top of each other. There's all kinds of things that you can do with the alignment tool. And then there's a flipping. So if I wanted to flip left, let's say front to back, I can do those kind of flips. You can't really tell that it's flipping, but that's the flip tool. So when it gets kind of fun, and what you're going to want to play around with when you first go to this is probably, you should pull in a shape like I did. So you just go ahead and pull in a shape, and then you have some navigation controls. So on the left-hand side here, you've got what's called the shape cube. And the shape cube is nice if you don't have a mouse. I mean, well, yeah, if you don't have a mouse, the shape cube is pretty good, because the kids can get on their touchpad, they can click on this, and then they can start to drag it around. And I don't think I've hardly ever worked on this program without a mouse. So I can't tell you how difficult it is. When the kids were trying to do it on the Chromebooks, I know they were working real hard. But that shape cube is nice, and it allows you to spin it all around, and you can get really dizzy and confused. And if you don't know what the heck you're looking at anymore, if you click on home, it'll send you right back to top and front. That's the standard view, the default view. Okay, so the home right below the shape cube. If you don't know what's going on, just click on that and it'll get you reoriented. Just below that, there's a fit to screen. I don't know, I don't use that too much, but it's I guess if you want to just focus on a particular shape, and since I had this shape selected, it went right into that shape. If I can zoom in more by clicking on the plus tool, and you can actually go inside, now I'm inside the shape, which is kind of wild, but it will take you inside. And then I can zoom back out by clicking the minus button. So those are some basic navigation tools. And then oblique, I don't know, I don't switch to perspective view much. I just keep it in this view. But it's just a slightly different view. If you're familiar with an art, you can see how it's now, as you move from the front of the screen front of the cube to the back of the cube, it's kind of getting wider here. That's just a basic perspective, train tracks, it get narrower as they go away. I don't know why it's getting wider exactly, but it is. So I'm going to click back in the view that I'm most comfortable and accustomed to. And actually, I think this is perspective view, and the other one was flat view or an orthographic view. Excuse me for just a minute. I'm gonna mute for just a second because I got a cough. All right. So that's the on-screen navigation tools. You can zoom in and out using your scroll wheel. So if you have a mouse with a scroll wheel on it, and what I mean by scroll wheel, that little wheel like right in the center, you can zoom in and out of that. If you right click, so I'm just holding a right click and dragging, that allows me to, it does the same thing as the shape cube, and I call it orbiting because you can orbit around. And so mess with that a little bit with a right click and just dragging around so you can kind of get accustomed to that. If you left click, it just is selection. So right click is orbit, left click is selection. And then this one, we don't use a whole lot, but it's pretty handy. If you right click and you press the shift key, you can actually, this is called panning. Okay, so, and I'm moving the whole work plane from left to right. So why don't you go ahead, go play around for just a minute with some basic navigation, pull some shapes in and just kind of, and I'll be here if you have a question. We could switch to your screen so you could show me what's going on, and I can maybe walk you or tell you what you're seeing if you're not sure, or I'll just leave my screen sharing for now. Okay.
I think I'm in like some kind of a tutorial because it already has some shapes on there.
Yeah, you might have clicked on one of the starters.
Oh.
So if you want to just go back to your own empty work plane, if you'll click up in the upper left-hand corner where it says Tinkercad, there's the little icon there, and that'll take you back to the dashboard, and then just click on create, which should be the blue button just down.
Oh, got it.
Did you find it?
Yes.
Okay. And then, so now you're in your own, you should be in your own spot there. Did you do that, April? Okay. I just was checking.
Sorry, I was muted. So I'm going to share my screen.
Okay. Yeah.
Let me get that going. I'm sorry. I was trying to help. Okay. So can we see that?
Yeah.
All right.
So just so you know, moving stuff around is really not as intuitive as you might think. So if you grab that sphere and you start dragging it around, it's going to do some weird stuff. It's it can get really kind of confusing. Like when you're trying to place shapes together next to each other and stuff, it's hard to get a perspective on where you're at. And so like if you try to put that, the kids, one of the things they'll try to do is like, we're going to build a house in a little while. That's one of my plans. If you try to put that roof or that, I don't know what they call it, it's really hard to put it on top of the ball, and you know, you just won't be able to do it without like some basic instruction. But the move them around and check it out, and then what you should do is orbit around so you can see it from the side, because sometimes what you think you're seeing and what's actually happening is totally different. So if you right click on your mouse and then spin your mouse, just move your mouse around to get some idea about, see how that's so. And if you're like somewhere and you can't figure out how to move your mouse and get it back where you want it, you can click on that home button on the left-hand side, and that home button will reorient it to like right where you started.
Okay. So, and that, you know, I'm pretty hands-on. So you were saying that we were going to build a house.
Yeah. I've got some little tasks to do before we build a house. So like,
okay.
Are you doing okay, Toby?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So right click and scrolling around, kind of moves it around, or the work plane around, or different views for me. What else do I need to know?
Left click will select a zoom in and zoom out. So your scroll wheel will zoom you in, and if you push it away from you, it'll zoom, it moves in the direction you push. So if you push it, the scroll wheel on your mouse towards your monitor or away from you, then I think it should zoom in. Yeah. And then so you can see how it's working. So
I'm on a trackpad.
You are. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So good. Yeah. So I know that there's some, and I haven't taught like on I do have some basic instructions for trackpad stuff, but I haven't done it long enough that I kind of forgotten them. So I know like with a 2-finger like drag, I think you can actually like zoom in and zoom out maybe with the true 2-finger drag. I'm not sure how that works. But you can always use those tools over on the left-hand side, the plus and the minus, to try to correct if you need to.
Okay, I get it. What's this one? Oh,
Yeah, when you think you're putting the roof on top of the,
Yeah,
right.
that's not gonna work. It's one of those things. There's some little tricks and the kids get pretty good at it, but
sure.
it takes some time. All right, so if you're comfortable with like what you've got going right there, then what I'd like you to do is go ahead and click on and are you watching, Toby?
I am.
Are you
wait,
watching? Okay.
No, hang on. Let me move this over.
Maybe
Okay.
just watch for just a minute. I'll try to
Sure.
give some verbal directions. I can
Do
either
you
show
want me
on
to
my
stop
screen.
share?
It's kind of up to you. I can walk you through how to do it, and then Toby can see it, or I can just demonstrate it, and then you guys can go do it, whichever you would prefer.
Doesn't matter. You tell me, Trevor. I'm good.
Well, let me try demonstrating real quick, and then
Okay. Stop
you
share.
guys can do it. So I'm going to go ahead and let's see. I'll go back to share screen and to. Okay, so I've got these 2 cubes on the plane. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of those. To get rid of them, if you just click on them and then press the delete key, they'll go away.
Okay.
And then I'm going to move 3 cubes out here onto the plane. Okay. The 3 cubes, I'm going to then change the sizing just a little bit. So if you click on a cube, and then you click on one of the handles. So these are like handles like you would normally see on a picture or something. You can drag those handles and change the size, which is pretty good. But it doesn't allow real good control, like especially if you're on a trackpad and stuff. One of the things that makes it easier is if you click on that handle, then you can click into the box and you can change the size. So if I write a 20 in there and a 20 in here, that's going to change. So this is my X coordinate, left to right. This is my Y coordinate, front to back. And then if I want to change the Z coordinate, I can click on this top one. So there's just one in the center, and that allows me to change. I can change that to 22. Okay.
So the X and Y coordinates, Toby, are from the like actual how it translates over to the 3D printer.
Yeah.
And the Z coordinate is often the substance that it's using, right?
Z coordinate actually is going to just be the vertical coordinate. So we think about this as a flat plane with the X and Y, and then the Z coordinate is going to be up out of that plane. So like it's your table. This work plane is like your table, and then your Z, and that's your X, Y, and then your Z coordinate is going to be up away from that. So what I like you to do is go ahead and go in and change those 3, put 3 cubes in there. Go ahead and change those to like, I guess my plan was to make one 20 by 20 by 20, the other 40 by 40 by 40, and then the last one 60 by 60. And go ahead and change the colors. Like if you come over here, you can like, if I want this one to be green, I can make it green, and this one can be blue. And so you can, kind of make it interesting. They'll never print that way. Just so you know, like you only print, unless you have a pretty specialized printer, you print one color. But you can make them whatever color you want when you're,
sorry, I didn't see the color. Where did you?
Okay, the color's in this properties panel. And so if you click on that, it gives you a palette, and then you can change the palette.
So you want 20, 30, what? Or 20, 40, 60?
20, 40, 60, but I'm not sure if that's going to work or not. We'll see. Oh, geez.
40.
I'm doing some funny stuff here.
40. Okay. Did I change the top part? No. 40. Okay, I think I did that. 60.
And if you, at some point, if you want to, I don't know if you need to share screen or not, but that's you always
I can if you want me to. I don't.
No, only if you need to. Only if you feel like you're stuck or something. And
no. I'm just kind of, moseying through, trying to make sure that I'm changing all of my coordinates on each of the 3.
And you, once you got them on there, you might zoom in and, you know, rotate around and just get the feel for navigation a little bit with elements on the work plane.
Yeah, the trackpad is a little bit different. I just have to
It's hard. I
just have
wanted to
to
buy,
figure it out. Yeah.
yeah. I wanted to buy all the kids a mouse. Like that was one of the things I wanted to do. It's just,
So I feel sometimes when I change the coordinates, it moves my boxes.
okay. So
What am I doing?
can you go back and look at mine for just a minute?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, so as long as you're clicked on on one of the
red, like the little
handles,
corners.
yeah, as long as you're clicked on one of the corners, it shouldn't be moving it. But if
Okay.
if you end up clicking, it happened to me just briefly too, and I'm not even sure exactly how I did it, because what you're doing is you're changing the relationship. Somehow I maybe selected on both of them, and then yeah, I think maybe that's what I did, and then, but it's moving it on the coordinate plane, and that's, I mean, that's not typically the way things are moved. You can move them that way, but that's, you usually have to invoke the ruler, and we haven't even looked at the ruler
We
yet.
even looked. Okay.
Yeah.
So, well, let me go back to it and let me, I still need to adjust, you said adjust the color. So
Yeah.
play with that. That's easy. Okay.
Yeah, that's it. This is pretty easy stuff.
Yeah, I don't think it's that easy. So I'm
Okay. I'm sorry.
Sorry,
I'm sorry.
Debbie.
I don't mean to
No,
be
I
like
just-
that.
that's okay.
One of the weird things is, okay, and I know what happened. I know what happened, April. So when
Okay.
you were, if you want to,
You want me to share?
if you guys want to join the share again for just a moment, I'll show you what happened and why
Sure.
that was happening. So if you move it, so notice I'm moving it, and I don't know if this is new or not, but
But
it's
it's like
showing
10,
me how far.
47. Yeah.
So it's showing me how far I've moved it, the offset from where I started. So when I started, it was at this
Coordinate.
point right here. And if I go back to 0, 0, that's where it was when I started moving it. Okay. And now as I move it, it's showing me the offset from where it originated. So like I've moved it -8 because it's gone towards the axis. And I guess that only stays there for so long, but it moved, you can see it's moved, I moved it 8 to the right, so that's how far. It's 14 now, and -14 back. Now if I click into those boxes, it will actually it will give me an exact movement. So if I wanted to move it 20 back, I could change this to 20, and now it's going to move back 6 more. Oh, it moved, I don't know. It seems like I told you the wrong thing, but maybe it's because that's showing me -19 from the original. So I guess if I wanted to move it back to -20, I'd have to move it -20. So I'm giving it an offset.
Okay.
I'm
And
giving it an offset.
the main point of tracking that information is just because you're working on a work plane and it needs to know or how the end product is going to be.
Well,
And
if you were building something and you were trying to place things like in particular spots, you are going to have to use that number specific information. For most of a lot of what I do with the kids, we avoid doing too much of. We do some of this location stuff, but we do it with the ruler, and I try to keep it a little bit simpler.
Okay.
That offset information, I think, could get real complicated for kids real fast. It's with the minus and plus, and they don't know which direction it's moving, especially middle school. So
yeah, me too. I mean, I don't know about middle school, but it was
so when we need to move it to exact locations, what I've done with the kids in the past is we're either using the alignment tools, we're moving it and just watching it move, and that I don't know.
Yeah, not as.
But it is really good information. Like,
yeah,
when you're trying to set things in particular places.
Okay.
All right.
Well,
so
it
are we
was
good?
good because I was seeing 2 different numbers when they were moving around, and then I was trying to change it to the 20, 40, 60.
Yeah.
And then I felt like it kept moving my thing around.
Yeah,
So
jumping around.
I was in a different mode. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that explains.
No, yeah. If you're changing the sizing and you're rescaling it in any way, you've got to click on the handles in the corner.
Okay.
All right. So
Go back to, I'm still not seeing where the properties is, so I can change.
okay. I'm not sure. So you can close this properties pane. And
Yeah, maybe rolled
so
up for you.
if I click on this right here, and then, or I guess if I click on that light bulb, it'll hide that properties pane. So, and then this will be available. It's not dimmed. When I click on this, this is now dimmed. It's like not an available tool. And I can see the properties pane. You do have to click on a shape to get the properties pane. So like if I just click out here in the middle somewhere, it'll disappear.
Oh, it just took it away. Okay.
So click onto a shape and then it'll show up again.
Yeah, but the shape went away. I don't know what I did.
Click undo. Undo is your friend.
That's what I thought I did.
Or just pull in a new shape. And you don't, hey, the next thing we're going to do, that was just practice. So it doesn't matter if it went away. Let me show you one other thing, like big kind of movement thing that is done. Or I guess a couple of movement things. You can also rotate things. So when you click on a shape, one of the things that you'll notice is that you get these handles. Okay, and the black handle, these midpoint handles are also there, but you get the cone, which I'll talk about a little bit here in just a minute, and then you get these arcs, these arced arrows. If you click on one of the arced arrows, it gives you a method for rotating it. It'll show you like a protractor. And you can actually pull this around and rotate it to different spots, specific angles. Just like we talked about before, I can enter an angle. So like if I wanted to enter 45, I can enter 45 and it will move to the 45-degree mark. Now, this was where 45 is, and I think the other one is going to be minus 45. We'll see. Yeah, so there's a positive and a negative you kind of have to pay attention to. But you can rotate. And what I was thinking I'd like you to do is try to rotate on the 3 different planes. So we've got the X plane or the X axis, which goes front to back, and or excuse me, that's the Y axis that goes front to back. And so for this one, when I rotate this is actually rotating around the Y axis. Okay. Because if we drew a line where the axle would be on this spin, it goes front to back. Okay. So that's a, and you don't have to remember, but that's a Y-axis spin. This one, I'm going to do a Z-axis spin. So it's the one that's actually on the Z-axis. Okay, so spin that a little bit. And then there's also the X-axis plane, and that one would be here. So you can spin them in 3 different ways. And just try going and spin. It's a little bit tricky. One of the things, if you watch for just a minute longer, if you can jump back, one of the things that may save you a little bit of time and frustration is if you click, and it's going to be really hard for you, April, on the touchpad. But when you click on this, it's really easy to try to. I sometimes cannot get it to spin. Like it just disappears. And so if you click on the line and in the blue, actually. I don't see how it's not spinning for me right now. I don't have a real easy way of fixing that. I don't know. I've had some problems in the videos too, but so sometimes it spins real easy and then other times it's kind of a frustration, but try to see if you can spin it just a little bit and get some rotation. We're not going to do a lot of rotation, but that's just one way to move things around. So I'll give you a second to do that. Tell me if you're
okay. I can't. How the heck do I tell if I'm on my X, Y, or Z axis again, Trevor?
That's something you're just gonna, and it's hard for because they're not labeled. It's going
Yeah.
to be hard for you to remember if you're not working with it regularly, but the x-axis is going to be the one left to right. Okay, so it's like when you're looking down at the table, which is our work plane, and you look from left to right, that's the x-axis. If you're going to spin it around the x-axis, you have to think of it as being a line there. So you're going to be spinning. It doesn't matter which axis you're spinning it on, but it's going to spin so that that would be like the axle or the center of the spin is going to be left to right.
Okay.
I don't teach the kids like, hey, I mean, I tell them, hey, you're spinning it. This is a spin around the x-axis. And the easy one to remember is z-axis, because that one's when you're just spinning it flat on the work plane. So that one I'm spinning around the z-axis and it's just staying flat on the work plane.
Oh shoot, I don't think I did one Z-axis or was able to figure that out.
Doesn't matter that much. If you spun it, you got an idea about rotations.
Yeah. I mean, I was able to figure the spin out, but like I said, I couldn't distinguish what axis I was on.
Cool.
Yeah.
And like I said, not a big deal. When you're actually rotating things and you're building something, in most cases, you're not going to have directions that say spin it around the X, Y, or Z. You're just going to be like, oh, this is the way I want to spin it. So that you just do it the way you want to spin it.
Okay.
Okay. So, I'm going to go ahead and delete these shapes because they have spun and they're all crazy. And I'm just going to go ahead and pull in a couple of shapes. And sorry, that's my phone. It's making a bunch of noise. And I'll just go over this kind of briefly, but so when you have multiple shapes on the work plane, there's a couple of things that you can do with them if you're trying to get them into a common group. And so what first thing is going to be to select them. To select, you just click and drag around two shapes. So I've selected these two shapes. Okay. Now, as a group, there's a couple of things that I can do with them. I can align them, which means that I can move them in relation to each other. So when I click on that alignment tool and I see these little nodes here, if I hover over it, you can see that it's moving the shapes to that point. And so, like, let's say I wanted both shapes to be even on the right-hand side. So I wanted them to be even over here. I did want this one to stay in front of that one. What I could do is I could say that, okay, and I would click here, and now they're both even on that left-hand side. They're exactly even. Since they were the same size shape, it kind of, I'm going to undo that real quick and make them different size shapes so it's a little bit easier to see. But
okay.
So once again, if I have selected them both and I click on that alignment tool, and then the node on the right-hand side, it's going to move them both to the right-hand side of that. And actually, you can kind of see how they came together. And if I move them, if I click on the middle node, it's going to center them up on each other so that they have the same center line. And I'm going to undo that. And then if I were to use the left-hand node, it would move them both to the left. There's all kinds of ways that you can align them. I don't want to, I mean, I could align them so that they're both at the same height. So if I use this one, this back one is a small, you see how it's a smaller? If I click on that, it's going to raise it up off the work plane so that it's even in height there. Great. They both are exactly at the same level. If I were to click it in the middle, then only this one's going to move. And now it's in the middle of that one, height-wise, in the Z-axis. Then if I click at the bottom, then they'll both just be back on the work plane.
So that's how you get it to go on top of each other instead.
That's one way you could do it. It's not the easiest way, actually, but it is one way that you can do it. And so the alignment tool moves things in relation to each other. The grouping tool, which is the other one that's available when you have two things selected. And so there's a little alignment tool and the grouping tool. right here. If you group them together, now they're just one unit. And if I change the size, you'll see that they both uniformly change. Okay, so they're the way that the program now sees it is they're a single shape. Okay.
Right.
So those are those two tools. I'm gonna show you one other thing, and then we'll build something together so that it doesn't feel like we're not doing anything. There's this idea of how do you place things on top of each other? And to do that, you use this tool right here. It's called the work plane tool. And when I click on the work plane tool, I get, what the heck? I get it, and I guess I have to drag it out. I don't know what I was thinking. I can place it on different planes. So see how it's on this plane right now? It's on the right-hand side of that cube.
Right.
That would, if I release right now, that becomes the work plane. It puts in what's called a temporary work plane. And anytime I bring a shape in, we've already seen this, we didn't talk a whole lot about it, but anytime you bring a shape in, it is placed on the work plane. It's touching the work plane. So like if I were to bring this sphere in right now and place it right here, it's actually touching a tangent on that cube because it's on the work plane, and the work plane is on the edge of that cube. So if I wanted a cylinder or a cylinder or a sphere on top of this square or cube, I'm sorry, I would put a work plane up there first, and then I would drag this out and put this on top. And now it is on top. It's literally touching it. And so that's the way you have to do it. So when we get this, if we were to get this, I'll delete that one.
Okay.
If I were to get this roof and I wanted to make this roof, I could now actually place it on top, and it's right on top. Okay. So why don't you see if you can, and so what I do with the kids is we just kind of make like a little pyramid, and you don't need to do this. Well, actually, we'll make something here in just a second, but we make just like a little pyramid where we place and maybe you should.
First, second, and third blocks.
Yeah. So now I've got like 3 blocks stacked up. So see if you can stack some blocks. It's like, here we go. We're in Child Find now and stacking blocks. So.
Right. Oops. Okay. Work plane.
So you have to drag the work plane out and you touch it on wherever you want to put it. Right now we're just using the top. That's just going to be the easiest. So put it on top of a block, then pull another block out, and you kind of have to eyeball it. It's not going to end up right where you want it.
Yeah, I see that.
It's going to be hanging off the edge or something. And so then that's when you would use the alignment tool. So if you selected them both and then clicked on the alignment tool, you click on like a center node and it'll kind of center them up just a little bit.
Okay.
No, not working, Toby. Did you get them stacked? Did you get them stacked up?
Oh, I'm going to have to watch you guys again.
Share. Hey, I'm going to stop sharing. How about you share screen with me real quick and I'll walk you through it.
Me? Okay.
Yeah.
You can do it, Toby. It's really interesting, though, the different planes and the way that your brain has to think so differently. Ugh.
It's really good. So, I mean, a kid who's got strong spatial reasoning and maybe they can't, they can't do other stuff, but they like get it. They can pack the back of they can put the groceries in the car in the perfect way. They potentially are going to be real successsul with this.
Okay, this says host disabled to participate.
Oh, that's me. I am so sorry. Here, hon.
No big deal.
Make a co-host. Now you're good. You should be able to see the green button and go. I should have just made everybody able to share. Okay.
Cool. Okay, so Toby, go ahead and let's just delete all those cubes. Just click on them and then just click delete. And we'll start from scratch.
Get you out.
You can leave one on there if you want, but let's get rid of the other two so they're kind of out of our way.
Okay, I got to change my view because now I can't see my.
Oh,
hang on.
Okay.
I'm not real great at this. whole
That's all
thing.
right. We're
with you.
I'm too.
You know what, Trevor, this would be really good for parents. Like, I know you were wanting to do like a community thing
yeah.
and maybe introduce these different types of and what their kids are doing. So it'd be super fun.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
I mean, not with every parent, but you know, there would be some parents
There'll be
that
some
would be
though
like,
that enjoy it.
yeah.
Go ahead and pull a cube out there. All right. Now, Toby, grab that work plane and over there on the and drag it over and put it on top. So
Well, I thought that's what I was
there you
doing.
go. Now release it.
Perfect.
Now, so now you have that temporary work plane. Now, we didn't talk about getting rid of these, which was a disservice to you guys, but go ahead and grab a cone, see, and pull it over and try to put it on top there.
Cone. Okay.
Perfect. Perfect. Well done. Okay.
What?
Now, hey, go ahead and click on the work plane tool again, and then just click in the white out there. Don't click on the orange or blue, just click in the white.
Wait.
There.
Yeah, just
Drag it
out.
there.
Yeah, just drag it out to the white and just know, yeah, that'll work too.
Oh.
So now you got rid of it. Now, go ahead. Can you orbit around so we can kind of look at how that's sitting on there? So you got it pretty close to the center. Looks really good. If we wanted to center it up, go ahead and click on your home button over there on the left-hand side, the little home. There you go. Now click and drag across both shapes so that you've got them both selected. You can don't move one. Yeah, there you go. That'll work. Okay, release. Okay. Now over there on above your properties panel, you've got your alignment tools. Go ahead and click on those alignment tools.
Alignment.
The alignment is the two. Yeah, there you go. Perfect. Okay, so now you have nodes all over the place, but in the front on the x-axis, yeah, click there. Good. And then over on the left-hand side, you've got those three. Click on the middle one there. Now you have set that up so it's perfectly on the center of it. Okay, so now if you toggle around, those are okay. Now, if you click on group, which is the right next to the light bulb that's dimmed up at the top next, yeah, click on that. Now that's a single shape. Okay. Let's try one other thing. We're not going to get the house done, but let's try one other thing. Something that I think is kind of important. You're going to keep this shape that you're working with, Toby, and if you want to go back, if you would go back to the screen share, I'll screen share again. Toby, if you, yeah, there you go.
There you go.
And I'm going to go ahead and grab this one and share it. So Toby, you keep what you've got. I'm going to get rid of what I've got here, and April, like both of you guys to go ahead. And so Toby, yours already has a cone on top. I'm not going to put a cone on top, but what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go ahead and grab the work plane and I'm going to put it in the front. Okay, so it's a little wacky when it's in the front there, but it seems a little counterintuitive. But the reason I'm putting it there is because I want to put shapes on there. So I'm going to next put a cylinder on there. And this is going to be a little bit more complicated than I thought, but I think we can work through it. And this will be the last thing that we do. And then I'm going to change this cylinder to a 10 by 10. Okay, so you want to go do that part. Go ahead, Toby. All you need to do is go ahead and go get the cylinder and get the temporary work plane, put the temporary work plane on the front. Then get the cylinder, drop the cylinder on the cube, like, you know, try to center it up and change it to 10 by 10.
Okay, what am I doing again? Sorry, I was just trying to find the screen. Okay, I'm putting a
So,
cylinder, work plane first, right?
Work plane first on the front.
Got it.
Okay. Then grab this cylinder.
Okay.
Go put the cylinder, kind of just try to put it on you're not going to put it perfectly on the square or anything, but just try to put it on there.
Got it.
Okay.
And change it to what? 10?
And then change it to 10 by 10.
Okay.
Okay. It's gonna be interesting. All right, now go ahead and come back to to my screen share again.
Okay.
Are you doing okay, April?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just can't get my rotating right, but whatever.
Okay.
But I think I'm
So-
following.
Okay. So now what I'm gonna do, and Toby, this is going to be a little weird on yours, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and select these two shapes. So like we've done before, select the two shapes, and I'm going to go to alignment, and I'm going to click on center. So now it's centered up left to right. Now with mine, I can click on this center tool, but for Toby, for yours, you can't because you've got that cone on top. So it's going, I mean, you could, it's just going to get weird because it's going to go to the center between the cone and the rectangle. Go ahead and do that. It's not going to look exactly like this one. And it's going to be it's going to create a weird looking shape, but it'll be cool. You'll see what I'm trying to demonstrate for you. So go ahead and get that so that it's centered up, and then come back into this screen share again.
I don't know how to get to the nodes. All I have is the little.
Okay, if you've got this, you need to select them both. Select both shapes. So you've got to click and drag across the cube and cone and the cylinder. So you've got to click and drag across them all. And
Okay.
you can start way far away, and just as long as you make a square around them, it will work. And if something happens weird, like you accidentally move it, just click undo and then try again.
I love undo.
I do too. It's a good friend.
Oh no. Okay.
What happened?
All right.
So when you're trying to select them, don't try to select real close. Just go, far away. Just click and just drag across the whole thing. And then click on your alignment, and you're just going to use the left to right, and then I guess it's going to be the top to bottom one too.
My alignment is grayed out. So what am I doing wrong?
I think you don't have the tools. You don't have two shapes selected.
Well, oh my gosh, hang on.
You want to share with me? I'll walk you through it.
Okay.
You want to do that? Okay. All right. You're up.
I am fighting with this mouse thing. I need a mouse.
Yeah,
It's hard.
It is kind of hard. Okay, so oh, you've got a note, so don't worry about that. Okay, so let's see, Toby, click I think you had it there. So go ahead and click and drag just across everything. There you go. That'll work.
But not the cone, right?
No, you're going to get the cone because it's grouped. If you touch the cube, you're getting the cone. So that's fine. Now you've got your alignment tools are available. So go ahead and click on them.
Oh, okay.
Now, okay, so your nodes are a little weird because they're moved to the top, but yeah, click good on that one. And then I guess go ahead and click on the vertical, the one that's on the right-hand side there. Click on that one too. Okay, so it put it up, see how it's kind of on the cone so that's okay. That's not a big deal. Now come back to the screen share and I'll show you what we're doing next. So I'm going to spin around, and this is going to be probably, I'll wait till you get here. Oh, I'm not sharing. So let me share screen. Okay, there we go. I clicked on home just to kind of get back to reoriented, and now I'm going to move so that I can see this from the side. Okay. I'm going to click off of this so that I don't have those selected. Notice that my alignment tools went away and stuff. I'm going to go ahead and click on just the cone, and you should be able to do that now. And when you click on the cone in your properties tab, notice that there is a solid and then there's a hole. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and change that to a hole. And so what this is this is an empty cylinder. which seems crazy. I mean, it's sitting out there in the middle of nowhere now. There's nothing really, right? But an empty cylinder is handy because what I can do is I can put a hole into this cube now. And what I do is this, we haven't talked about this cone yet, but this cone that sits up here, that what it does is it allows you to move either towards the work plane or away from the work plane. And so what I can do is I can move it into the work plane or into the cube there. And when it goes to, it ends up being -20 because that cylinder is 20. And so when it goes to -20, it means I've moved it 20 down. And so now it's exactly in the same placement as the cube. Okay. So now it's basically inside the cube. And so I'm going to go ahead and notice, Toby, I want you to see how I'm selecting this. I just click and I just go across, like now I've got everything selected. Okay. Right. And if I group these, so I click on this grouping tool, now I've got, and I'm going to zoom in so you can see a little bit better, but now I've got a cube with a hole in it. And that's the way we create like voids. If we need a void in something, or we need to cut, maybe we even just need to cut a piece of something off, we change them into holes and then we group them. So why don't you see if you can go do that? If you want to share a screen again, I can walk you through it.
Oh, it's April's turn.
April, can you move? April, can you move these pieces around well enough with your trackpad to?
You know, I'm having a really hard
about
time, Toby. I'm sorry.
Okay, well,
It's
and
gonna
we
have
don't
to
have
be
to do
you.
that. We don't have to do that. I mean, if you guys want to call
No.
it, we're pretty much
No,
at
that's
time.
good. We're all friends here.
Okay. Did I stop sharing?
Sorry.
Yeah.
There's mine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's coming.
Okay.
Okay.
Perfect.
Right.
So now, Toby, the first thing is just to click anywhere in the white, just to get rid of so that you don't want everything selected right now. Just click over. There you go. Perfect. Now, why don't you click on the, I think if you just click in the white over here, I think it'll get rid of the
Off to the side.
Yeah. Or pull your work plane, pull a new work plane into the white or on the blue so that you can get rid of that work plane. Oh, I didn't do that. Okay. That's okay. Now let's see, go ahead and spin it around a little bit so that I can see it from, okay, good. Now, we need that work plane back. So I shouldn't have had you remove it, but go ahead and pull that work plane back and put it on the cube again, on the
front.
The face. Yes. On the front of the cube. There you go. Good. Okay. Now click on the cylinder.
Yeah. Okay.
Now go ahead and go to your properties pane and click on hole.
Properties.
That's right over here. It's down. See where the orange color solid is? Yeah, click on the one right next to it.
And then
that's hole. Okay. Now go to the cone that is above your cylinder on the work plane area. No, click back on the cylinder. You accidentally clicked off the cylinder.
Click on. Okay.
Okay, try. You're still kind of missed it. So you're not on the cylinder yet. Just click on the white anywhere over here, like on the left hand. There you go. Now try to click right on the cylinder, just on the cylinder itself.
Right click or just.
There you go. Just click left click. Yeah. Now turn it into a hole again. You undid the hole. Okay. Now at the very top, like on the left hand side, there's a little black triangle. It looks like. You see the little black triangle right up there. You go. Right there. Now push that down. Push it to the right. And what that's doing is making go until it goes down to -20. You went too far. Pull it back up. 20, right there. Up. Okay. Now right there. That's good. Okay. Now go ahead and click off of those shapes. So just click in the white anywhere. Now select them, everything that you have. So just go way up in the left-hand corner, just click and drag and select. There you go. Perfect. And now there's right next to the light bulb that's dim above your properties pane. There's that's the group. Click on group. And so now go ahead and click back and orbit around so you can see the front of that thing from the front. So right click and drag. So there you go. And so now you can see, Yeah, and it didn't quite, like when we were moving it around, it kind of jumped back and we didn't get it cut all the way through.
Oh, I
But
see.
you
Yeah.
basically, if you roll around to the back, go ahead and go all the way around to the back, we can see what's going on there. So you see it didn't cut all the way through the bottom section of that,
I see. That's crazy. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
So, and we could print that. I mean, right now we could
Yeah.
say, hey, let's go print our cone house with the circular door.
With
It
that
would be,
halfway hole.
Yeah, and it would print it. I mean, that's a printable image. So,
Wow. Good job, Toby.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
so you're ready. You're ready for the
Ready.
go drop $2,000 for a 3D printer. No, one of the nice
We
things,
have one
Toby.
at Region 9 office has one. So
Yeah, and you know, some of them are $2,000, but the ones that I use in the classroom, I use a bunch of them. They're like $220. So,
I have no idea. But fun.
I mean, you could, one of the, you know, something cool that you could make stuff for, I don't know, you could personalize blocks for kids, you know.
Mhm.
If a kid had their parents' names on it, you can make dice real easy, and you can make dice with the kids, you know, or sight words, you know. It'd be some kind of nice stuff. I know that one of the projects I have done with kids, and we didn't go very far with it, but we made, you know, have you seen the story cubes before?
If you make with paper, I've done those before.
Yeah, well, it's kind of the same idea. You know, you have words on the on cubes, and then you roll the cubes, and then you've got to make a story with 3 words that come
Right.
up, or on dice. So, you know, and so like,
Oh, but do it with
the dog went to the park, and, you know, and with some verbal skills and stuff, I think, you know, that kind of stuff, and you can make it real personalized for the kids, and, you know, it's super fun, right? Doing 3D design. So there you go.
Cool. Thank you.
Yay. Thank you so much.
All right.
That was amazing, Trevor.
Cool.
I hadn't had a chance to play with it at all. So, but Toby, you were just like flying through there, getting
Yeah.
quick.
Yeah, my husband says, just quit clicking.
Oh, do you have someone over your shoulder kind of?
No, that's in general. I'm a clicker.
Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah, you kind of
With the virtual background, you never really know what's going on. I had the kids coming back and
Yeah.
forth behind me a little bit. I don't know.
It's a big secret. Yeah.
All right.
Wow. Okay, I'm going to stop
Thank you so
recording.
much.
I think. Yep, there. Hey, Trevor, thank you so